tell you a story about this very important building behind me, which looks like a simple market today, an enclosed market. And there's actually open-air markets over here with fruit and veg, the kind of open-air market that many neighborhoods in Warsaw have that you would rarely find in London or any of the big cities in the United States, for example. So it's very cool. Each area has its little market. But this, particularly the Hala Marymontska, because this is Marymont, the area of Warsaw, just north of the main part of the city, in Żoliborz. This area has not only an important history as a province of and a playground of the princes and kings of Poland over the Middle Ages through the Renaissance, but also it is a place that has a very important had a very important role in the history of Warsaw, running back to the uprising, the Warsaw Uprising in 1944, and even before that. Żoliborz was an area that is well known for being the center of various trades and experimental agriculture. For example, there was an agricultural institute here in the early 1900s. It's long been a place where the firefighters have their academy, and they train here, the main one in the whole country. It's right across the street, actually. And various other trades. Żoliborz has always had a sort of hustling spirit. And why it's important, to remember this, because you just go walking by these places and shopping in them, and then they come and put up a nice plaque like these. I always read these, or I always say a placard. I always read these kind of things to find out, well, not just where I am, because there's a map too, but what's important about local history. Too often we're walking along and we don't realize that a whole, centuries of lives have been lived in the very place where we're standing. And so I get off on knowing, as you know, if you watch the show, on knowing these historical bits. It was a very beautiful day, in fact, like this, on the 1st of August, 1944. And when the uprising began, this building behind me was the Hala Marymontska, was instrumental because it was the first concrete reinforced building. So that meant that its roof could withstand bombing. And not only that, but it had a very strong facade. And it's now, as you can see, been turned into a market for many, many years. There are probably people from Żoliborz. You find some of the rather ancient people here who remember that actual day. Sometimes I'm tempted to stop an older lady or a man in their 80s and ask them, were you here during August of 1944? At any rate, this building became one of the main places of refuge for the Home Army, the AK, as it's known in Poland. You may have seen that famous film, Ashes and Diamonds, one of Francis Ford Coppola's favorite films. It's a good introduction to the spirit of revolution, although that film takes place just after the war. It gives you some sense of what it was like to be in the underground, fighting against the communists. Similar spirit. AK remnants fighting the communists instead of the Nazis. At any rate, this building was turned into a fortress and a place of refuge, and they held out, well, as you know, it took about 2 months for the uprising to subside. At any rate, the point of telling you this is that you need to scratch the surface when you're traveling, not just going to tourist places. If you want to go to tourist places, then forget this. Don't watch this episode. If you want to know more and know deeper things about the history, then this is the program for you. Not about the history, but just the place. Because when you travel, you want to immerse yourself in culture. And this is one of the things you can do. Dig into local history. There are fascinating things that have happened in virtually every neighborhood of every big city that's been around for some time. This city's been here 700 years plus. How about that? At any rate, this is Hala Marymont, and over here there's a big not garden, but market selling vegetables, fruit. There's a bakery and all kinds of other little shops, secondhand clothes, you name it, whatever you need. And this is where the locals come, including me, because it's not far from where I live, and do their shopping where I live when I'm in Warsaw. Żoliborz is my favorite part of town. Żoliborz and Bielany, which is further to the north. It all lies not far from the Vistula River. It's about, I suppose, about a kilometer in that direction to the Vistula, and it's running that way towards Gdansk. Behind me, you'll see the thoroughfare, the beautiful thoroughfare, going all the way. You go straight up this road, all the way to the old town and the center of Warsaw. This was traditionally a very cool place to be in Żoliborz, going back to even the 1600s, and King Jan Sobieski, because of course there would have been farming here and other kinds of trades being plied at this time, because it's near the river, and yet the countryside outside what was really a rather small town of Warsaw in the 1600s. But you would have a good place for the king to get slightly out of town without going far, because we're only about 4 kilometers from the old town in this position. Marymont, that's a hint, and she was related to Jan Sobieski. So we finally made it over here on Ulica Gdańska to the place where Jan Sobieski built a palace for his wife. Her name was Maria. And the palace is, well, you can't quite tell, but the street's down below us there, and it's on this little hill. It's quite a nice little, maybe even a knoll, a grassy knoll, if you will. For those of you who are Kennedy conspiracy buffs, a grassy knoll. Behind me, this church has taken the place and was built on the foundations of the church that Jan Sobieski, the great king, built for his wife, Marymont. And that's the area, the Mount of Mary. It's not really a mountain though, is it? It's just a hill, but it's a nice little hill. Jan Sobieski, of course, used this area as his getaway, his weekend getaway, and his hunting preserve for when he wanted to get out of Warsaw, but not go too far. Still have the protection of Warsaw and the comfort of his palace, but be in the vicinity of the city. He liked these places just on the outskirts. There was Wilanów as well, which is to the south on the way to what is now the Beverly Hills of Warsaw, Konstantin. So this is a nice spot to sit and relax on a beautiful day. In fact, there is a ceremony taking place right now. I believe it is, I'm sure it is a funeral. Don't know who it's for, but a lot of people have gone in there. Gosh, you would hope somebody would show up at your demise. At any rate, this is me. This is Żoliborz, north of Warsaw, in the northern suburb of Warsaw, and it's a beautiful day.